Welcome to Doing It My Way by Beata Matras, a podcast about project and product management, communication, brand, and IT. All these topics will definitely improve and have a positive impact on your career. So join me today, subscribe, and expect a new episode every week. Thank you. Welcome in Doing It My Way. And today I'm thrilled to have Olga Huzarewicz with us, a software engineer with a rich background in developing applications across various sectors and a proven track of record in both the technical and managerial aspects of software development. Olga's journey from a junior developer to a software engineer, scrum master, and product owner, and also CEO of her own products, showcases a deep commitment to pursuing her own boundaries and self development. So let's dive into the conversation about responsibility and experimentation in IT. Welcome, Olga. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a great pleasure. I enjoyed some of the previous episodes, mostly with, I remember the one with Eva and Ola. So they were great. So I'm very thrilled to be here.
It's really nice to hear that. I didn't know that you're actually one of the listeners of my podcast. So thank you for that. And maybe we can start from the first question. So, Olga, could you share with us your journey in the IT field and how you've navigated your professional path?
Yeah, sure. So pretty much I started quite early as a child. So my dad was quite into computers and a bit of programming. So he introduced me a bit. And I started in primary school with creating a basic website for my riding school, where I used to learn how to ride a horse. And then, it was the first small step into this direction. Later, in the middle school and also in the high school, I also been quite close to learning basic programming, etc. I was in this class with the program of extended mathematical, physical, and IT fields. So that was quite natural for me to go into this direction because I was always close with IT. But there was like the only change in my path right after high school because I decided to study not IT, not computer science, but the field more related to the graphics, like and designing, etc. So I went to Denmark to study in Copenhagen. The field was multimedia design and communication. And after half of year, I decided that it was not actually the right path for me because I definitely prefer more technical stuff and more analytical and logical thinking than it required more creativity and this more artistic soul, etc. So I decided to come back because it wasn't possible at the time to pursue with the computer science studies there because they were only held in Danish at the bachelor level. So I came back and started back in Poland studying the computer science in English. And then it was like quite a boring path, because I completed the first step of the education. Like I gained a bachelor degree in computer science, and then just went for the first internship, like during summertime. And then actually I stayed. Like I had never a pass in between, so I only changed the jobs and companies, but I never moved in any other direction. So from the beginning, I was working as a programmer.
Okay, interesting. This is like a very linear path that you followed, but you made a little bit change. At least from my perspective, because you started your profile, your Instagram profile, Przepis na IT, so the recipe for IT, and also developed your own ebook about REST API. So can you tell more about that? How did it happen? How did it started?
So during the time when I was studying, I was also giving private lessons of the mostly from the mathematical fields, and I was mostly teaching children. So it showed me this, gave me few tools on how to explain something to someone in the way that it's very simple. Like, with the kids, you cannot be too complicated because they won't understand it anyway. And actually, that's what's happening usually at school. So the teachers, are trying to explain something in quite difficult words, etc. So when I was giving those private lessons, I usually, try to show it as easy as it's possible, like pretty much like you are trying to explain something to a child. So that was like a good experience of how to learn, how to teach someone, and what could be like what metaphors to use, and how to present the problem in a different way. So that, I think, that was like a first brick for that. And then the second thing was that when I was learning for myself, during the studies before and after, I often found that the materials and the tutorials that are everywhere online, that everyone says that you can learn programming and IT just from browsing and from internet, but those materials are not often that easy to understand. They are, especially the documentations, if you are not experienced and you're just starting, then often it's quite hard to understand them. And even if there are some that are easier to understand, then they are usually in English. So that's the thing, that you have two possibilities: they are hard or they are in English. So if they are easy, then yeah, not in Polish. So that was the idea, that maybe somebody, I was thinking about me from few years ago, that I would like to create a profile for someone like me who would like to have something explained really like really easy, like without any complicated words, etc. So basically, that's how it started.
That's the story. Okay, that's the story. And so far, you've developed several digital products. Can you tell more about it? How did it started? How the process looked like? Was there any, like, the user focus experimentation in this development of your own product?
I actually developed, let's say, one product, like a digital product, which you can purchase, and there were also two programs. So these were the ones that were temporary, like you could, like a car, some online cars. So these are quite different products. So with the ebook, it was pretty much spontaneous, let's say, because I created the Instagram post about the how the REST API, which is the title and the topic of the ebook, how it's working, and this post went like crazy. I never, none of my other posts or reels are having so many views and so many likes as this one. So that was like the start of the idea that maybe it's a good subject, because there were like huge amount of people who were writing that it's explained in a very easy way, etc. And actually, this topic is quite important because it's so widely used, that understanding of that is not only important for the people who are trying to be the developers, but also for the testers, as well as analytics and so on. So I've been thinking that, if there is so many people that actually gain some knowledge and it was useful for them, just this small Instagram post, that it might be actually very useful for them if they would have like a big amount of knowledge explained in this way, especially that most of those materials about the REST API is made for developers. So it's written in this more complicated way, and it's distributed, like you have piece of information here, piece of information there, and it's not like combined anywhere. At least I couldn't find it, and also definitely not in Polish. So that was the idea, and then I pretty much asked the community. I just posted the question on the stories if I have an idea to write such an ebook, and if that's a good idea, and if and what do they think, and also asked some questions about which topics should I cover in this ebook, because I wasn't sure, because there is like many things that are related with this one, like some tools that you can use. So to gather the ideas of what should be included in there, and that's how it started.
Okay, so it was about looking for user needs, but also asking them for support during the development of your ebook.
Yeah.
Okay, that's product management approach, or I would say, or like a kind of mindset, I would say. Yeah, that's very interesting. And what about like experimentation? Did you, I mean, basically like posting or Instagram and creating your own profile on Instagram is like a one huge experiment, I think, because we
Yeah.
all know that some posts are, yeah, going viral and some are just, do not cause any reaction. So for you, how crucial is experimentation in kind of technology field and product development field? And do you measure the success of these experiments? Do you have any measures and metrics implemented?
To be honest, not really, because what I learned from learning from conducting this profile is that usually it's this way, that the ones that are going viral and they are giving getting this amount of likes, etc. That usually those these are the reels that you gave almost no attention, like they were effortless, so you just had an idea, made it like in 15 minutes, post it, and then suddenly you're getting like a huge amount of likes and shares and so on. And when you spend like an hours and trying to create a perfect and extremely useful post, then there is nothing, like there is like 10 people liked it and that's all. So and I'm trying to stick with this basic idea when I created the profile, that I'm not aiming to be like super popular and create like viral reels and be like a influencer of IT, like in this meaning that I'm not doing it for the popularity and for the fame, but to actually share the knowledge. So I'm trying to stick with the basic assumptions, so that even though I am putting sometimes some I don't know, funny stuff or some reel about something which is mostly for entertainment, then I try to continue sticking with showing the knowledge and sharing it. And I think that it will always get less attention than sharing something that is, a photo of a cat. It's always it will always get more attention.
Yeah, I remember that during a conversation with Paulina from Paniot Projektów, she also mentioned that one of her reels went viral after she was just procrastinating. She didn't had like a humor to clean up her apartment or her house, and she started to create a reel, and then it went viral, and it was like, what? How's that
Yeah.
possible? Yeah, so yeah, maybe we should procrastinate more. I mean, at least in that way. Of course, I'm joking. So right now, after talking about Instagram experimenting, the kind of product development and user knowledge, let's move to the topic of responsibility and ownership, because on a daily basis, you're doing your software engineer responsibilities. You're a software engineer, but also keep your Instagram profile and share the knowledge with others. So I believe it needs a lot of self discipline, but also, yeah, ownership and responsibility, basically. And it also plays a key role in a successful tech development. So how do you kind of cultivate this sense of responsibility within your teams or coworkers? How does it differ between the different environments you're working in?
I believe it differs a lot between different environments and different companies, because obviously the more experience you get and the more the more senior role you have, then you will get more ownership and more responsibility, because that's, that I think that's not only like this in the software engineering role, so that you will get some people that had some junior role, and you need to be take care of that their job will be also done well, and first of all they will learn, and second of all they won't break anything, so your area of responsibility is expanding. But also I believe it differs between the companies in the way that there is, for me at least, in my experience, I worked until now in 5 different companies, and it differs a lot between in the matter of size of the company. Because if you have like a big company, like corporate type, let's say, then usually all the processes are already set, and the roles are quite separated. So one person is usually having one role and is responsible for that one role only. While in the smaller companies, like I'm currently working in the software house that has like 20 something people, so it's quite small. And here the responsibility is much higher, because it has to be like, there is no not I have actually an example from the typical software engineering work, like daily work. When I was working in a bigger company and we had to make some, let's say, change in the production database, then the process of it in the big company was that we had to first of course, write the query for the change, and then request that we would like to make some change. Then somebody would review the query that we write to ensure that it's correct, and then we would have to wait for the window, so when we can do it. And then there was like a small window for like 30 minutes when we would get like the permissions and approvals that we can run this, and it was like only at this day and this time. And then when we are working in a small company with like few peoples in a project, and that's all, then it's not possible to do it in such a way, because there is like everybody has so many things to do. Then you cannot be so fragile with every change, and obviously we are checking and trying to verify what we do between each other, but it's not that easy. We don't have such a complicated processes.
Yeah, definitely. It's I think like it's faster in smaller companies in startups. Yeah,
Definitely.
the process is definitely less complicated. I'm not sure how does it impact the quality. Can you say something about that?
Uh, I believe it does impact quality, uh, but that's also I think it depends on on the project itself often, because when you work in the software house, and often it is like this, that you have a client who is pushing you, and he wants the changes and the features to be deployed, and he's waiting for it, and so on. So you have to find some common ground, so you can stop him and try to delay the changes until you are sure that they are safe and then can be done, because that's your job and that's your responsibility as a software engineer. So you couldn't just run everything on production and keep your fingers crossed that it will work. But on the other hand, you have to have some find some common ground, and understand that that's his business, and he needed fast, because he had also some clients, and he's making money out of it. And here this feature is not on production, is, for example, costing him some money, or that there is some bug that is not fixed. And when you are working in this bigger companies, or often in the companies that are creating their internal products, it's quite different, at least from my experience, because when it's internal product and you have some deadline, then usually if you will tell that, okay, it's not safe to do it and we have to stop, wait, maybe test it 3 times more and so on, and that something unexpected occurred, then I believe that it's much easier to postpone the deadline and it's just more flexible in this way.
Yeah, and we smoothly move to the topic of discussing failures and mistakes, because it's often avoided despite a kind of importance in learning. How do you handle these aspects in the technical environment?
Yeah, well, I believe that failures are pretty much like everyday software engineer thing. Like that's often there are a lot of memes about it. That being a developer is like going up and down, and sometimes it's just like everything is working, and you feel like you're a god, and it's just. It's just you feel like the best programmer ever, and sometimes you have the day when for example you get some bug to fix, and it turns out that you look at it at first and it seems like it's 5 minutes job, and you say it because it's so easy to fix, I will do it in 5 minutes, and then it turns out that it is 8 hours later and you still have no idea what's going on, and a few more other things broke at the same time. So I think that that's quite of the experience to not take it personally. When you're becoming more experienced as a developer, so that at first when you try to learn, it's extremely frustrating and depressing that you cannot get to the bottom and you cannot solve something. So when you get an experience, you learn that it's not it's actually, even though it seems like it's a one-man job and the programmers are sitting alone in the cave and doing something on their own, then actually it's teamwork, and that's how it's done. That you have to ask for help and ask for guidance from others, and that's why you have the team, and also actually the Stack Overflow, which I'm not sure if you know, but it's like the biggest programming forum. Yeah, yeah, it's a great example, because actually I think that I haven't seen such a forum from any other field like this one, when people are actually extremely helpful and you can find answer on any topic, and they are exchanging knowledge so happily, and it's crazy there. So, and the same it's in the team. Usually when you work in some company, you have your team, that it's on daily basis that we are exchanging knowledge, and if somebody made some mistake and something failed, then okay, we know that we are all responsible for that, because for example we do have the process of the code review. So every time when we are making some change, what we're supposed to do, and what is like I will say good practice, but I think that it should be a normal, like a common practice, and usually it's how it's done, is that we are doing the code reviews. So we are sending like the changes for others from the team, so they can verify if what we will do, the changes in a code, if it's correct, and if it's if it can be done better, or if it won't broke anything, etc. So there is like one thing to try to avoid this failure. But if it happens, then that's why it's like team responsibility, because if let's say I did the mistake, but 3 other people from the team haven't noticed because they checked this code and they haven't noticed, then it's our common responsibility to fix that. So usually in this situation we are working together and trying to solve it together.
And that's actually amazing to hear. I mean, maybe not amazing, that's a bad word, but it's like a kind of, it opens my mind and like lights the bulb inside, because I've always thought that being a software engineer, being a developer is like a very kind of lonely work. You need to like sit, in front of the computer, write the code. But actually, from when I think about my experience and from what you're saying, it sounds like a kind of team effort. Like you have a team who is responsible for solving the problem rather than the individual.
Yeah, exactly. And also the sharing the knowledge among the team is also crucial, because we could all sit in our caves in our with our computers and do it alone. But then it's not for it has a short perspective, because in some time none of us would understand what's happening in this code, because if I would do something in the place A and somebody else would do something in a place B for some time, then I would have no idea what's going on in the place B. And it's not a really good idea, because, for example, people change their jobs or they get sick and so on. So we have to be able to understand the as much of the application and as much of the code as possible. So the knowledge sharing is also a very important process. So if we wouldn't work together, then I think the sharing of the knowledge wouldn't be possible.
Yeah, sharing of the knowledge, and also um, kind of, as you said, yeah, people are changing jobs, people are changing companies. So to keep the knowledge within the team, that kind of sessions are sessions, so like working together is needed, is like a kind of fundamental thing. My next topic is around innovation, because a kind of daily routine of developers can vary significantly, especially when working in legacy environment. Yeah, that's unfortunately the kind of the daily challenge of most of the developers working in, for example, huge companies that are not using the brand new technologies. So what's your strategy or approach for navigating these kind of challenges, the lack of innovation or the legacy environment?
I'm not sure if my answer would be politically correct, but I would say that my solution is to switch jobs.
Okay,
and
that's
and
cool.
I must say that it's quite a good one, especially when you start your career and you don't have much of experience. Then it's actually very precious, to work in several types of projects and in several types of companies. Of course, if you're working in a place when everything is perfect and you don't want to change, then I'm not, saying that you should just resign from that job just only to try something else. But I think that it's actually very important, to gain this knowledge and to have this experience in multiple companies and or in multiple projects, like a legacy project as well as some new projects, and as well as a big one and small ones. And and then you can gather those. And no matter on what project and in what company are you working later, then you have this ground. But going back to your question about the innovation and how to, put it in the project when it's, especially if it's a legacy project, then it depends, because often it happens like this with the developers, that they are going to the conferences or some meetups and so on, and they are listening to some speakers, writing down some presentation, and then they are going back and they want to introduce all of those new great ideas into this project. And it's even, I think it's called like conference driven development, that you have your head full of ideas and you just want to put them all. And it's also like not the best solution. So I believe if you actually have your team, and it's pretty much the same, if you have your team and if you have like people with a different background, and you gather those ideas like from the conferences, meetups and so on, And so then there is a place to introduce innovation, but it's usually not a great idea to just rush into the new like it's like with the AI recently, there was like a huge boom on the, like, everybody's doing AI, and now we have been the products that it's not logical to put there any AI functions, but it was like a hype, so we put it everywhere. Yeah, so to summarize, I believe that you're working in an old legacy project and you lack of an innovation, and you would like to expand your horizons and learn more and to grow. Then you still need to go beyond the project and go to the conferences, meetups, and talk to other people and to get the knowledge from them. And then if it's not possible to apply, if it's not reasonable, if you discuss it with your team and it turns out that those ideas that you gathered on the conference are not really a good ideas to apply in your project, then you can use them on the side project. And if you feel like you're lacking of the innovations for too long and you need to learn something new and to change, and you want to do it during you don't want to do the side project, but you want to learn only during the work, then I believe the only solution is to search for a job where you would have other kind of projects.
Yeah, and I think that's a kind of good summary because it highlights that you always have a choice, yeah? If you want to work in an innovative environment, in a environment that supports your growth, you have to find it or you have to create it by yourself.
Yeah, and one more thing is that actually it often feels like the legacy projects are boring and they have nothing to offer. But you can look at it from two sides. Like it's one side that usually the tools and the frameworks, for example, the configuration is not the best and the newest and so on. But on the other hand, often you have like a very evolved products. So you have, for example, applications that have huge amount of users because it was built or created 10 years ago, and it has huge amount of users. So it's also opportunity to learn, but to learn something else, because maybe you are not learning the newest cool things on the market, but you are still learning on how to maintain an application with, let's say, few million of users. So, and this is not so common because not every application and not every company has such a possibilities. So maybe it's also a good idea to just find those pros. Like the cons are easier always to find, but and one more thing that you can also learn in the legacy projects are that usually when we are working on something new, we are making the decisions, like multiple decisions, architectural and so on. And often if this is small project or new project, then it often is this way that maybe this project won't be successful, so it will eventually die and nobody would use it. Or maybe you would work on it for a few years and then you resign from the job, and you will never see it reaching the point when it becomes a legacy project. So you will never see the consequences of your decisions because you made some decisions. Let's say, let's build the database in this way. And you think, okay, that will be perfect. And if you never reach the point when this application becomes a huge legacy project with huge amount of users or something, then you will never realize that your decision was wrong and you should have done it in a completely different way. And it's, for example, a big blocker in the growth of this project in the future.
That's interesting approach, but I also look to it from a different perspective, because sometimes you're in the point when your knowledge is on a certain level and you made a decision which was the best in that in that point of your life, because you didn't know something. Yeah, you didn't have that knowledge that you have now. So yeah, we can also like look from it from a different perspective. Okay, I made this decision.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, but then if you will reach that point and you will know that, okay, I made that decision. It was the best decision at the time because according to my knowledge and according to the information that I had. But then after some time, you realize, okay, but that actually wasn't the best decision because I could have do it differently, and that's fine. We are learning, so that's okay. But it often is like this, that you make this decision and then you change your job and you never know that it wasn't a good decision.
Yeah, that's also interesting. That's also interesting approach, to like actually have a kind of opportunity to see how your past decision have influenced or have arisen a few years later, and like start making different choices or different decisions from that point. That's also like a learning experience.
Yeah, and actually it's similar as, like, when we are building, making a building, developing a building, let's say, and you have like a typical architect or like a master on the construction, then usually all those work it's signed. So if, let's say, somebody create a building, like designed it, and then the building is created and something is wrong, then even if this person is not working in this company anymore, then he still held to the responsibility, right? Because he was the one who signed that this design will be fine. And in IT, it's pretty much similar, because you are creating, like, you're an architect of the application. But if the application fails because of your decisions some time later, then you are not held accountable, because nobody will search for you on LinkedIn to find you and to tell you that it was wrong.
To summarize, Olga, and to close our conversation, with your vast experience, what crucial insight would you like to share with our listeners?
So I believe that I will start with the one that we actually covered a bit about the teamwork and uh, and the responsibility. So I think that during my path, the thing that that was the most uh, important one, like the crucial one, was to ask questions. Like, it's so trivial, and it seems to be so easy, but as soon as you get to this mindset of seeing this, whatever you do as a teamwork, and learning from others and asking questions, is like a trampoline for your career. And to not to sit alone and trying to do everything on your own, but to make the connections, to go to some conferences, meetups, if you don't have the possibility to connect with people at your work. And as soon as you are able, just reach out to others and try to learn from others, because I believe that it's the best way to do it.
So it's about, yeah, collaboration, learning from others, asking for help, and creating your community, basically, like you did on Instagram, for example, because you have a pretty big community. How many of Instagram followers you have right now?
I think something over 16,000. Yeah, 16,000.
Yeah, so that's a great number, and yeah, but I think that's about the community, yeah, who supports you and you're helping them, so they are
Yeah,
there also for
and
you.
yeah, yeah, exactly. They are also for me. That's actually pretty much the point, that it seems like when you are conducting such a profile, that you are learning others. Then apart from the products that you can make money on it, but apart from that, it seems like it's only me giving. Like, I'm writing the post and sharing the knowledge, but it's actually the other way around. So I am doing it, but in the meantime, I'm learning extremely a lot because I have to sort out my knowledge. I have to every time when I write a post, I need to remind something. I need to verify something, and in this way, I am learning even during the creation part. And then when I am sharing it, and when the people are starting to read it and comment it, then it's the second part when I'm also learning a lot, because there is so many perspective and so many insights, and every time there is a bunch of messages that okay, but that's okay, but have you checked this one, or maybe try this one, and do you know this one? And it's amazing because it seems like it's uh, it's me sharing my knowledge, but I am one and I'm writing one post, and then I'm getting like multi messages from multiple people who are sharing their knowledge with me. So that's actually crazy.
But that's beautiful in the same time. I mean, it's not crazy. It's just like I think that's how, community should work. Like you are exchanging the knowledge, you're exchanging the ideas and supporting each other. Yeah. That's beautiful in my, at
Yeah.
least from my perspective. And um, Olga, looking forward, what is like one goal or endeavor you're particularly excited about in the current year?
So I think that I would like to go with the second ebook. Actually, I have the idea already, but I haven't validated it yet. So we will see if because I haven't, put it together what I want to have it there exactly. So I haven't shared it yet, the proposal or the idea. But it's connected with, I think, my second goal, which is quite close to the ground. Let's say that I would like to have more time.
We all
And
want
just,
that. Yeah, we
yeah,
all want that.
yeah, and just find a better balance, because recently my activity on the Instagram profile has been extremely low due to lack of time, not lack of motivation and willingness. So I would like to create my every time when there is some change in your life, you have to like rebalance everything again. So yeah, I'm in the process of rebalancing again after changing my job and after switching to the smaller company where the responsibility, there is more responsibilities and so on. So I need to rebalance it better, make some decisions of how to do it, and that's the plan.
That's a very nice plan. I mean, I'm looking forward for your next ebook. For those who are interested in further like, getting your knowledge or being in contact with you, where they can find you online and how can you help them?
Yeah, so my main place online is the Instagram profile that we mentioned. It's called Przepis na IT. It's held in Polish, and it's usually mm, related to the basic knowledge of IT area. It's not aiming straight only for the developers, but it's actually I'm trying to broad the easy way of serving IT and related stuff to all the people who are interested. So not only the ones that are already working, but also the ones who are thinking about it, or maybe they want to join IT but not in the technical role. That's the main idea.
Okay. I'll link the profile in the episode description. And yeah, I think that's all for today, Olga. Thank you very much for being my guest. Thank you for a really great conversation. And yeah, until next time, you know how you do it your way, definitely.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for joining me on another episode of Doing It My Way by Beata Matras. If you enjoyed this episode, please do not forget to subscribe. Remember, this podcast is a dynamic journey and your feedback is very welcomed. Connect with me on social media. I would like to hear your thoughts, questions, and topic suggestions. And stay tuned for upcoming episodes. And until next time, keep doing it your way.